What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And don't forget you can follow us on podcast too now, so you can take us with you wherever you go. And if you really want to be awesome, you can support the channel either through YouTube membership or over on Patreon, where there's different tiers and things like that. As always, a huge thank you to each and every single one of you for being here. The time out your day, you know, is just absolutely amazing. I can't believe people still listen to me. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Ark Enderal. Am I the arsehole for not considering my parents' adopted children as my siblings and not being willing to take them if something happens to my parents? I know the title probably makes me sound horrible, but there is a lot more to the story. So my parents had me very late in their lives, after a crap ton of tries, and being told that they could not have kids. Well, here I am, but my dad was 51 and my mum was 45 when I was born. Despite their age, they were amazing parents, loving, caring, strict but fair, and they were in a very good financial position in large part due to their age. So they put me through very good schools and paid my tuition in uni, and so on. In other words, I had a great youth and was set up for success. Well, I am 26 now, I'm doing well for myself, however the problem started 3 years ago. They missed having me in the house, it felt empty. They said so they were considering adoption from another country, where laws are more lacking, as in our country their age would likely prevent them from even being considered. I told them that this was a horrible idea due to their age. Last year they succeeded in adopting the little girl and her brother aged 3 and 5. And I've only met them a few times. So far, all the times they're extremely shy, and frankly, I am not close to them at all, as I live halfway across the country, so obviously I do not consider them my siblings, but more so as my parents' kids. Issue is, my dad is now 77, and my mum is 71. They are still very fit for their age, and have a living nanny to help out, but let's be honest, they are in the age group where it is likely the end is near. So I visited them a week ago and asked them what their plans were for the kids if they died before they are adults. And they were pretty much lost for words, looked confused and answered, obviously you will take them in, you are their brother. I pretty much had the same reaction as they had to my question, and told them there was no way, I hardly know them, I am not close to them, I do not consider them my siblings, and I certainly won't take care of 2 kids. Went over about as well as you can expect, loads of yelling and screaming which led to me leaving. I've not spoken to them since, apart from my mum sending me messages to reconsider. Obviously I do feel bad though, there is no one that can take care of them, no other family, no close friends, just me. So they end up in the foster system. But am I the arsehole? Wow. I think one of the most shocking parts to me was their reaction to you actually asking a sensible question. You asked them, what happens when you guys die? What's going to happen with these kids? And they look confused and shocked, like, and they were just expecting you to take on that responsibility. That's an insane plan. Did they have that plan from the very start? That's absolutely crazy. In one way, bless your parents for considering to take on these children, but it was real bad lack of judgment. If you wasn't part of this in the beginning and sat down and they asked you, would you take care of the kids if we die? And there was no agreement, then it makes you not the arsehole, because there is no way you can be the arsehole in this situation. But let's go down into the comments to see what we can find. Kerry Ketora says, not the arsehole, adopting at their age is a terrible idea. They know they will die soon. Frankly, 10 to 20 years at most is what they can expect. You don't adopt a child because the house is empty. You get a bloody dog. It shows incredible selfishness and short-sightedness on their part, because they clearly haven't given much thought on what will happen to them once they're dead or too old to care for a teenager. Mother Leathercoat replies, I'm surprised they were even allowed to adopt at their age. What agency approved this? Cassia replies, not the arsehole. How can they make a decision to adopt 2 young children so late in life and make the assumption that they will inevitably pass you the responsibility for caring for them? That is truly fucked up. They are not your responsibility. The OP replies to this saying, I hope they had planned this out, but obviously they didn't. The Blind Cat says, oh, they planned it. They just don't give a shit. That's not something you're willing to do. They're banking on you folding when they die. It's not like they're going to be around for you to argue with. OP replies to this, but that won't happen though. In a few years I'll probably think about wanting my own kids, you know, not taking care of my parents' kids. The Blind Cat then replies once again saying, stand your ground then, because your parents set this up banking on you folding when they aren't able to care for their children. This was pure selfishness on their part. Wow, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 1. Our next story is from Kinky Arsehole Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for not wanting my flat to be kink friendly and potentially getting my flatmates evicted? So I'm 20 male and I've just moved in with 3 people at uni, Sarah, Joey and Michelle. Fake names obviously. Sarah and Joey are dating and are part of a fairly sizable fetish community locally, and they go to a lot of gatherings and are generally fairly openly kinky. Grand, you do you, go nuts. We moved in together for the upcoming year until 2 days ago, when I came home and Michelle immediately pulled me into a room to explain that Sarah and Joey had put up a ton of LGBT and fetish related flags all over the living room. Side note, today I learned about fetish pride flags. There are a lot of them. They are only these little hand-sized flags, but they're in a big chain thing across one wall of the living room. Then there's some art. It's just close-up pictures of genitals that I'm 100% certain include the 2 of them and other people from their club. Then there's a shelf that used to have a couple of tiny cacti on it that now has a leather mask, riding crop and condom bowl. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that we're both obviously beyond uncomfortable with the entire situation. We sat Joey and Sarah down and told them we were uncomfortable and it all had to go. They said it was unfair because it was their lifestyle and they wanted people who came over to the flat to know it was a kink-friendly place to be yourself for any guests or additional partners that might come over, and that the living room shouldn't be a place of oppression unless it's consensual. I said it absolutely fucking wasn't, and the only kink-friendly place to be yourself was your private spaces, and that the living room wasn't a place for sex when it's shared. They feel like they made their lifestyle clear before we moved in, and that the living room is shared and therefore they can do what they like in it. Michelle and I explained the situation to the housing company we're living in and asked if we could break the lease and move into a 2-bed together. The manager we spoke to went nuts and screamed at Joey and Sarah that he wanted them out and was going to contact his lawyer. I think he's under the impression that they're going to have loads of people over for sex parties all the time. We can only have a limited number of guests. Also, that is disgusting. Some of our mutual friends are furious that we've potentially made them homeless over a few flags and kink things. So, am I the arsehole Reddit? I personally don't know where this one's going to go, but I'm going to say from my perspective, I've never flat shared with anyone in my life, so, you know, it's kind of hard for me to judge. But at the same time, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't be happy if I walked into my shared living room and there was gimp masks and riding crops all over the place. I mean, if you like your fetishes, then fair play to you. You enjoy those, you know. But I wouldn't want someone else's fetish shoved in my face. Especially like the bowl of condoms just sat on the side as well. I mean, that almost screamed at me like they're going to be having sex parties at some point. There's a bowl of condoms there ready and waiting. But let's go down in the comments to see what we can find. You did what now? 10 says, not the arsehole. Consent in the kink community is massive. You don't get to involve vanillas against their will. Shared spaces are not for sexy stuff in rented accommodation, and they are being gross expecting this. You can be friendly and welcoming without kink paraphernalia. A condom bowl? Fuck that. Let them all ride each other in their bedroom, not on the shared couch. AITA says, not the arsehole. They violated the spirit of their own ethic of informed, enthusiastic consent by not consulting with you ahead of time and negotiating an arrangement that made everyone comfortable in your living space. You knew what we were in advance is utter arsehattery. You are clearly vanilla as fuck and can't possibly be expected to know what any given group of kinksters were going to want to do without being clearly informed. They were being shit roommates and a bad example of alternative lifestyle followers. Devil Penguin says, I mean, I'm far from vanilla as fuck, and I wouldn't want porn, their sex toys and a tacky condom bowl in our shared living room either. Miss 13 also replies to this, God, can you imagine how awkward that'd be if his parents came over or if he met someone new and wanted to bring them home. Imagine that, just he's bringing in his new girlfriend. There's the condom bowl, the gimp mask and the riding crop. My word, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. Our next story comes from a throwaway account. Would I be the arsehole if I didn't go to my daughter's weddings? 2 of my daughters are getting married on the same day. I know, shake my head. The older one thought the younger one did it to be malicious, but we've since confirmed that the wedding hall that the younger one wants to get married at only had a limited amount of slots, and that the next available slot is almost a year later unless someone cancels. On top of that, they're getting married on separate sides of the country. My husband and I decided we would each go to one of their weddings, but now both of them are upset. Because my older daughter wants me at her wedding and my younger daughter wants her father to walk her down the aisle. Okay, fine, we'll switch. Nope, my younger daughter wants me at her wedding and my older daughter wants her father to walk her down the aisle. I'm about ready to throw my hands up. I was on the three-way with my daughters this morning and they were bickering so much I got fed up and said I wasn't going to either of their weddings and hung up. I felt bad about it a little later, but I honestly think it's the best solution if they can't be adults and decide this amongst themselves reasonably. Wow, what a messed up situation, and what a situation to put you in as well. That's what I hate, is like that you've been thrown in the middle and you're having to make these tough choices. Although I've got to say that, and I might get burned for this, so feel free to educate me if I'm wrong here, but I'd blame the younger daughter in this situation because it sounded like the older daughter already had the wedding planned, she had everything ready, so you kind of expect your parents to be there for that wedding anyway. And then for the daughter, just because that she could only get this wedding hall on that particular day as well, that she went and done it, that she went and booked it, I don't think that's an excuse. I don't think you... Say if one of my brothers was getting married, I wouldn't get married on the same day as them, regardless if that was the only day or not. I would postpone my wedding. Even if it was a year later, I don't think I would cause that conflict within my family. So I gotta say that the younger daughter is the arsehole in this situation, and I wouldn't blame OP in this situation for just throwing their hands up in the end and saying, look, I'm stepping out of this, I can't be bothered to deal with this shit. But now we'll go down in the comments to see what we can find. The hot dog hallway says, oh gosh, not the arsehole. Your daughters are playing a very hurtful game of chicken. Whichever daughter picked her wedding date second, knowing it was the same date, and doing so because the venue she wanted was only available on that date, made a choice. She picked the venue over a relationship with her sister. That was the choice. Get married somewhere else or get married on the same day as your sister and force all your mutual family / friends to choose. She picked, and the consequences of that decision should fall directly on her. Snarky Quibbler says, you're the arsehole. Younger daughter is a bigger arsehole, but this is not a situation where both daughters are equally to blame, and it is not reasonable to throw up your hands and walk away as if they are. Treating people the same when they are not equally to blame is not being fair. One daughter chose a wedding date that had no conflicts. The other daughter chose to schedule her wedding on the same day as her sister, so she could have the venue she wanted. The first daughter wants her parents to attend the wedding as originally planned. The second wants her parents to cancel their pre-existing plans to attend her sister's wedding to attend hers. Did you always throw your hands up when the younger sister started conflict? Call it a squabble and blame both? Could be how this level of entitlement from younger daughter came to be. And that's some very good points in that story. Yeah. You kind of look back now at the younger daughter and think, where is she getting this entitlement from? And is OP to blame? She should be really just prioritizing the first daughter maybe. I don't know. Is this real life says, not the arsehole. Your younger daughter may have wanted a certain venue, but guess what? She shouldn't have booked it on the same day as her sister. Either you wait or find a new venue. Because she did what she did, malicious or not, she should be okay with however you and her father want to handle it. It is because of her this is happening. Honestly, I would go to your older sister's wedding that had the original date. Another question I'd be really curious to know, did the older sister want the younger sister to be a bridesmaid in her wedding? I'd be very interested to know that as well. And once again guys, I turn it to you. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. Our next story comes from East Ad. Am I the arsehole for laughing at my son's divorce? I have 2 adult children who are immensely loved, but I've always believed that the marriage comes first. I love my husband more than anyone in the world, and I made sure to prioritise our marriage and not be one of those mums. My oldest son is 25 and just filed for a divorce after 4 years of marriage. I really dislike my daughter-in-law for some personal reasons, but I also didn't like the way she treated my son. They have a beautiful 3-year-old son, but she began to completely ignore my son when my grandson was born. She prided herself on being a working mum, but couldn't juggle all 3, and my poor son was neglected. Typically, I would have more sympathy, but she made a lot of derogatory comments about my parenting and marriage. She said she doesn't know how my husband and I could travel without the kids when they were young, 1 or 2 weeks a year, and they were with their grandmother. She was insulting about the fact that I baby my husband and he is a man-child, and she embarrassed me at her bridal shower when she asked me for a piece of marriage advice and then told me it was bad advice and I'm just too old-fashioned. Well, obviously, this didn't all work out too well for her. I was ecstatic when my son told me they were divorcing. She also used her son as a pawn and was always giving me conditions and acting like she was doing me a favour. I'm kind of enjoying the fact she wanted me to have limited time with a kid, and now I have him for a week at a time. My son is living with us, but I've tried very hard to bite my tongue. She came over the other day to pick her son up, and my son had left. He always leaves and makes me deal with her, but that's a separate issue. She started talking about how weird it feels that they are divorcing and that she can't believe it's real. And I very nicely asked her if she still thinks my advice was bad advice. She burst into tears and left, and now I feel like an asshole. She texted my son that I'm a bitch and he should be mad at me for laughing at his divorce. I was just sort of unsure how to react to this one. I mean, the mother-in-law sounds like something. But then I was reading some of the comments down below and someone pointed out saying I didn't like the way she treated my son, and then saying my poor son was neglected after the grandson was born. And I was thinking, and that one of the comments said, is this sort of like code for cheating? He cheated on her. So I'll be very interested to know, because it always sounds like it a little bit, right? My poor son was neglected, so he had to go to another woman kind of thing. But that's completely guessing now. I don't know. We're going to go straight down into the comments with this one to see what we can see. And we're going to start off with that comment from CurlyGirl722, quoting, "My poor son was neglected. Give me a break. Is this code for he cheated? 4 years of marriage and he's calling it quits because she's more focused on a kid than him is ridiculous. Oh, and treating your soon-to-be ex-DIL and mother of your grandchild poorly is bad form. You should be the bigger person and try to at least pretend to be supportive on all sides. You're the arsehole in the biggest way here." Panda Boot replies to this saying, "Wouldn't be surprised if OP was one of the major causes of the divorce. Considering she laughed at the news of the divorce, I wouldn't be surprised if she was antagonistic towards the DIL when DIL and her son were married." Curly Girl then replies to this again saying, "I wouldn't be surprised either. My mother-in-law once said something about me dressing sloppy when I was at home. I was a stay-at-home mother for well over 10 years and didn't leave the house often. She was trying to say that my husband's interest in me directly correlated to my appearance, which I thought was bullshit. It showed me the kind of person she is and what her priorities are in marriage. We don't see eye to eye, but she seems to have a modicum of respect now that I work outside the home, although my choice of job and its resultant salary seems to be another sticking point." Drunk on Martinis replies, "You're the arsehole. Being a jerk to your son's co-parent is an awful idea, and making fun of someone who is crying about her marriage ending to her face is cold, even if you do hate her. I think it's icky to rejoice in anyone's pain. Karma is a thing." Brintax says, "I mean, yes, you're the arsehole. You're obviously the arsehole here. The question is whether you're a justified arsehole, which you appear to think you are. There's way too much one-sided info here for me to say everyone sucks here, but being gleeful about your son's divorce is enough for me to render this verdict. It really doesn't matter how bad you thought the relationship was. It's likely devastating for your son and grandchild. And by the way, there are many people who don't agree that the marriage should come first over the kids. The fact that you see this as a moral thing of hers versus a difference in philosophy is one of the reasons I'm not sure I can trust your characterization of your ex-daughter-in-law. And once again guys, I turn it to you. What do you guys think of this story? Is the mother-in-law the arsehole in this situation? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Our next story comes from Yellow Green Blue Tree. Am I the arse for expressing my discontent about my best friend not offering me 10k after winning 1.5 million? I've known friend A for 18 years and B for 2. Now friend A has been awarded 1.5 million and was able to keep 1 million, and I was just telling friend B how fucked up I was financially due to COVID. B tells me that friend A already had the money and was shocked I didn't know. I was happy for my friend but also panicking about my own situation. A knew I was 4 months behind on rent and was unable to get employment, trying to hustle odd jobs to make ends meet. Friend A calls me and asks how I'm doing, and I tell her that I'm fucked up and I don't know what I'm going to do. She listens intently but doesn't say much. The day after, she calls me to tell me how excited she is that she's going to fix her teeth, that she has had problems with all her life, and that it was daunting spending 30k but it was needed. I tell her that I'm happy for her. She calls another day to tell me how this award made her feel like she's finally gotten out of the tough times she's been in her whole life, and she wants to bless people that have been through struggles and be a motivational speaker. My energy was low. She says, "Alright, I can see you don't want to talk right now, I'll call you later," and hangs up. At this point, I'm peeved. If she wanted to be a motivational speaker so bad, that was her shot right here. I moved on and kept that to myself. Mum helped me get unemployment, and I was able to sort my situation with back pay, and I got 5k that covered my back rent. I told friend A and B and thought that was the end of the situation. Now that my rent is sorted, I'm in good spirits. A calls to say that she feels bad I'm always making the trip to see her, and she wants to see me. I oblige and throw a surprise rooftop party for her brother / grad party for her. It was herself, her brother and boyfriend. She said she was happy to see that, and her brother texted me the next day that he was grateful. We texted for a while and I expressed that I was shocked that friend A didn't offer to help me in my time of need, and if I had gotten 1.5 million, I'll throw her a little 10k, that's less than 1%. He said his piece and I agreed and thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. The following morning I was at work and she texts me, "We need to talk." I call her and she says, "Do you have something you want to tell me?" I said, "No." "Don't lie, I spoke to my brother." I said, "Okay." "This is the second person telling me you feel entitled to my money. You feel more comfortable talking to friend B than me." "I do actually." "Then we have nothing to talk about," and she hangs up. I don't feel entitled to her money, I feel entitled to her offer. I'm the type of friend to move mountains when needed, and I was shocked to find out that now she could, she wouldn't. Am I the arsehole? I'd consider myself pretty careful with money. I save and all that kind of good stuff, right? And I know for a fact $1 million isn't that much these days. I mean, it's a fair amount of money, don't get me wrong. It won't go as far as you expect it. I mean, like if you buy yourself a house, there's a good chunk of your money gone right there and then. But it's not like what some people think you like can retire and go move to a private island with the rest of the rich people in the world. It just doesn't work like that. So for you to expect any amount of money from your friend anyway, it's a bit of an arsehole move in my opinion. I don't think you should expect it or even expect an offer of that money. It's their money, you shouldn't expect that. And sort of throughout this story, I was getting like a hint of that. I don't know, it's just one of these, like the feeling that I get that OP was playing a bit of a game, like trying to subtly hint at getting the money out of OP without directly saying, "Can I have money?" You know, that's what it felt like for this story. You tried it several times and it just wasn't getting you anywhere. So then you mentioned it to the brother in the end, which then got back and caused a bit of an explosion within the friendship. So in that kind of way, I've got to say you are the arsehole in this situation. I know you're in a bit of a shitty situation yourself at the moment, but I've got to say you are the arsehole. Let's go down in the comments to see what we can find. Nut Michelle, oh we see that name quite often. "You're the arsehole. No matter how much money your friend has come into, she isn't obligated to give any of it to you. End of story." 99213 replies to this saying, "Not only that, awarded sounds like it was from a lawsuit, not a lottery. So the money is restitution for something, not a random windfall. Not that it makes a difference in how OP isn't entitled to a cent of the money." iGlidant says, and quotes, "I don't feel entitled to her money, I feel entitled to her offer." And then says, "which you would accept. This is a semantic game you're playing to avoid owning the fact that you think A should give you the money. And I think it's frustrating to see someone catch a lucky break and not bring you along. But 1 million is not a fortune to live on, and your friend would be broke in a month if they gave 10k to everyone they know who needs it." And then quotes again, "If I got 1.5 million, I would throw a little 10k, that's less than 1%. A didn't get 1.5 million, she got 1 million. You're the arsehole." Mr. Little Gene says, "You're the arsehole. If I won 1.5 million and walked away with 1 million, I'd spend a hefty portion of it solving my immediate family's financial problems, and my own, naturally, and I'd put the rest away. I came into a large sum of money when I was younger, and I lent my friends money, and I was so frivolous that I ended up with nothing in the end. I actually feel nauseous even thinking about the situation, because of all my problems would have been solved had I not been so generous in the past. It's a slippery slope, and your friend is smart to not fall down that path." And for the final time guys, I turn it to you. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 5. Once again guys, thank you for being here. You are truly, truly appreciated, and I hope you really do know that. Give yourself a pat on the back from me. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next one. Just thank you for your support guys. You're absolutely amazing. Goodbye.